So we must be ready to be challenged. Ready in every way to give our very best. Gladly, none of us needs to go to the forest to hide, to fight, to shed a tear, to shed blood, to fight for independence. We have nothing to die for, but we have everything to live for. So we must live. Tutatimiza lengo letu. Welcome, dear Kenyans. Welcome. Those joining us online, we celebrate your presence. Tunasema asanteni sana. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your belief. Dr. James, allow me to read some of the writings that Dr. James shared. This is from the book of Ezekiel 47:12. It says, "Fruit trees of all kinds will grow on both banks of the river. Their leaves will not wither, nor will their fruit fail. Every month they will bear fruit, because the water from the sanctuary flows to them. Their fruit will serve for food, and their leaves for healing." There you go. Indigenous knowledge. Na karibu na mto, juu ya ukingo wake, upande huu na upande huu utamea kila mti wa chakula, ambao majani yake hayatanyauka, wala matunda yake hayatatindika kamwe. Utatoa matunda mapya kila mwezi, kwa sababu maji yake yanatoka mahali patakatifu, na matunda yake yatakuwa ni chakula, na majani yake yatakuwa ni dawa. Maandiko matakatifu. Dr. James. Dr. James did his research, and he's trying to tell us indigenous language didn't just appear now. It has always been there. It has always been there. Thank you, Dr. James. Asante sana. Welcome, welcome. In a little while we'll be starting. Na akanituma tena kwenye kitabu cha Ufunuo mlango wa 22 kifungu cha kwanza na cha pili. Kisha akanionyesha mto wa maji ya uzima wenye kung'aa kama bilauri, ukitoka katika kiti cha enzi cha Mungu na cha mwana kondoo. Katikati ya njia kuu yake, na upande huu wa ule mto, ulikuwapo mti wa uzima uzao matunda aina 12, wenye kutoa matunda yake kila mwezi, na majani ya mti huo ni ya kuwaponya mataifa. Dr. James, beautiful. The knowledge, the wisdom contained. Should I take another one? Another one, thank you. This is Jeremiah 8. Wow. Jeremiah 8:22. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then is there no healing for the wound of my people? It's just a question. Just a question. But maybe it's pointing to something greater. Je, hapana zeri katika Gileadi? Huko hakuna tabibu? Mbona basi haijarejea afya ya binti ya watu wangu? So there are questions, but the answers are with us. There's somebody across the globe wondering, why am I not being cured? There's a family crying. We've tried every kind of medication, but there is no hope. And yet, Dr. James, you point us to Scripture that there is healing within our trees and herbs. If we can only harness, yes, herbs. In our trees and in our herbs, that is where our spiritual anchor lives. Mwalimu Nyambane powerfully put. We cut our trees, we destroy our herbs to our own detriment. And that is why we are celebrating indigenous knowledge, intellectual assets. So thank you so much for coming. In a moment, we will kick off the official program. 3 minutes to the top of the hour, we should be closing this particular session at 4 p.m. Very quickly, kindly get your phones. Let's have the Menti platform on, please. Let's have the Menti platform on, please. We want to get your quick feedback from day one till today. And we want to move with action. We've spoken about it. And And if somebody was to record all the presentations we've had, then use AI to develop, I hope we will still be safe. So we have to walk fast, move fast. Good to see you. So please scan the QR code, and we'll have simple questions on your phones. It's very simple questions. So that we kick off with the data that is very critical in our next move. So let's have the first question. Very general questions. Could we start with a gentler one? Do we have a gentler one? How was the... Okay, rate the conference. Okay, rate the conference. So from the first day you came, rate the conference. How was the conference for you? Now, this is where you need to be as honest as possible, Mercy. Absolutely, very honest. This is the first. So rate the conference. We've hidden the results because this is purely for management. And Vivian is here already, I can see her. Bwana Hosea is there, Bwana Patrick is there. Thank you so much, Bwana Patrick. This data will be important so that if we're going to have the next conference, it should be 120% better. Okay. Okay, so you'll just find the question on your phone, just pick the appropriate response. Was it, the conference, was it exceeding expectation, meeting expectation, approaching expectation, below expectation? It's okay. We want you to be as honest as possible. Okay. So I can see 17 people. Let's move. This is for everyone. This is for everyone. This is information that will be very critical in helping us moving forward. Okay, keep going. We are at 20 people and we are more than 20 people here. Simu yako Mercy usha. Fantastic, well done. Asante. Aya, kwa sababu ya wakati tutakwenda moja kwa moja. Swali lingine la pili. Naam. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Next question. What should we improve on? Now this is where you type in. Unabonyeza pale unatuambia kusema kweli nilipoingia hapa. Kuna mambo ambayo lazima yabadilike, andika pale. Kuna jamaa ambaye alinipatana naye Jesse Karen. Kuna jamaa alinizungumzia, andika pale. Bwana Boniface. Nilijaribu chakula hapana. Hapa basi. Andika. Sabela. Tunaandika. And I normally say, imagine living a life where no one is correcting you. You will never reach your destination if nobody's correcting you. You might as well be climbing a ladder that is on the wrong building. Wasted time and energy. But if you're corrected, and you receive that correction. That is wisdom. The wise love correction. So this is a platform for the wise. So be as honest as possible. Say, program, time, speakers, Write them down. I can see 9 responses. I need you to write as many as possible. And if you write one and then another idea comes in, share it again. Share it, share it, share it, share it, share it, share it. 11 people, I need about 20 comments coming in. We are hiding it for the purpose, this is purely for the management. And for those I can see innocent, we need your comment. I know you're part of management, but you can also just drop in a point that you saw. We have no way of checking it's you who posted that point. Shindo, Bas, your point. Gideon, Bas. Melon. Is it Mercy? Mercy, no. Julian. Right. Kelly, participate. We need your points. How can we improve? Huh? Yeah. How can we improve? 4 minutes past 3. Karibu sana Daktari Taracha. Tunawategea karibu sana. 21 people. Okay. Okay. Five minutes past 3 p.m. We have just now a final question. Do we have it ready? The final question. This is where now you say, okay, we want to just have a wonderful time and celebrate everything that happened. What stood out for you? This is where you say, what stood out for you in the entire... what is your take home? What stood out for you? You came, you were welcomed, something, someone, an event, the exhibition, the speakers. What stood out for you that you can remember? Post it as well. We want to celebrate, and then we get ready to hear from our speakers. Dr. Taracha is here. Bwana Tony should be coming in shortly so that we kick off with the practical resolutions. Okay, just type it in. Right now, if you type it in, it will appear on the screen. Director Lagat, thank you so much for your patience. Asante sana for your presence. Okay. Post that. Okay. Conference, thank you so much. Thank you, really appreciate. There is a lot of indigenous knowledge out there waiting for mainstreaming in national conversation. The guys at reception, very welcoming. The caliber of indigenous knowledge contributors that were mobilized. The untapped indigenous wealth in Kenyan communities. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Technology will not wait for our laws and systems to catch up. We need to move with speed. We need to move with speed. Speed, energy, excellence. Keep them coming. Technology will not wait for our laws. Who wrote that? Who typed that? You know, just. Ah. There we go. Please allow me. Just expound it a bit, because sometimes 8 minutes past 3 p.m. Just talk to us about it.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Claire Njoki from the Kenya Institute of Primate Research. I'm a research scientist there. So that came from the very interesting session we had in the morning, where we're discussing the framework that we need to put in place with regard to especially artificial intelligence, and the fact that our systems we have some laws already in place, but implementation is still an issue, because some of the laws and things that need to be put in place for us to be able to actualize those laws and have them operationalized. So basically, I think the tagline for me was that we need to move very quickly, because technology is also moving at a very fast speed. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dr. Claire, makofi yake tafadhali. Thank you so much. Absolutely, we need to move very fast. Now, Bwana Boniface, we had a very, fiery conversation. I want to give you this opportunity to speak about how we can integrate, and I'm sure Bwana Shindo also spoke about it, but as a resolution from this particular first conference, and it's being recorded, what is that practical, actionable point we need to take up?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. What I can say from this opportunity that we need to do immediately is, we have talked of so many intellectual assets and products that have been developed. Before we take them to the market, before we convince other people to use them, that they have been protected and preserved in the bank. Now is to take and consume. Now is to take and consume. So that we can win other people's confidence to come and consume what we are consuming.
Absolutely.
To the youth who are here.
Right.
There is the Gen Z spirit that is being spoken about globally. Where is the Gen Z revolution in culture?
The Gen Z revolution in culture.
We should not only reform politics. We should not do a revolution in politics. But we can make a revolution in culture, then in economy. Because now if the capital is culture, now we have the capital. The capital is the indigenous knowledge. We have the resource. The human resource is us youth. Then we have the government, the NPI team and NMK, who can provide the conducive environment for us as youths to run away from the streets, go back to the bushes, come with the products in the market, then the issue of employment is solved, and we reach Singapore. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Makofi ya Bwana Boniface. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You've got, Carolyn as well. Thank you so much. Practical resolutions, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I think to add on what my brother Boniface is saying, I felt the need that we also need to decolonize who the consumers are.
Whoa, take it slow. Decolonize who the consumers are.
Yes, because a lot of our speakers, and I'm sorry to say, kept on telling us diaspora, which is okay, but we must start here. We must start consuming ourselves. So we must create in mind of local consumption. We don't want a lot of guests coming. I mean, that's an add-on, but the primary consumers must be us. So let's decolonize who the heritage culture products, assets are for. They are for us. They are for our intrinsic motivation to continue being Kenyan, African, Kamba, Kisii, and whatever.
Makofi tafadhali. There we go. Carolyn, thank you so much. Very practical, very practical, very practical, very practical. Who wants to chime in? The good thing, by the way, we are not just speaking, we are recording this particular session. So this is data that is also being picked. Any other person who wants to add? Thank you so much. There's a microphone. Thank you so much. Go ahead. Your name, organization.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Patrick Kanampio from Tharaka University. Let me say I was very excited and amazed by the kind of innovations that have been exhibited in this conference. I have seen a lot of potential with our local indigenous entrepreneurs. And if the people who are supposed to support these entrepreneurs expedite the processes, then Kenya is just about to consume its own.
Boom.
And I would also have loved to see...
Thank you so much. Well done. We should have had that taste from an investor saying, this is what I would really want to invest in, giving us a roadmap. Thank you, Dr. Kanampio. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I am Anne Nyandiala from National Museums of Kenya. One thing I would like to say that we can also present our products in a way that entice the public. Like for just example, my case, I'm working on edible insect. So we can do value addition so that when we present it to other people, like our agencies, there will be no shock or like, I cannot do insect. We can pack it in a way it is presentable, marketable, and also enticing, so that we may change their perspective of thinking, reasoning, and receiving the product. I think that's a way to go. Because, for instance, tama is a delicacy for the Luya community. And when I was doing my present exhibition outside there, you realize some Luyas were like, I can't do this because this is insect. But when the product which I was presenting was edible insect, but I baked the cake, people were in a position to taste the cake and they were like, it is so sweet, it's so nice.
Anne, let me just stop. Who tasted the cake? Who tasted the cake? I'm giving you a chance. Just come in front. Come in front. You tasted the cake. Come in front. Come in front. Come. Please come. There's a reason. Thank you, Wanatoni. Karibu sana. We appreciate you. Please come. Now, I need you. We want to do a quick experiment. Thank you, Wanatoni. Karibu sana. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Excellent. Okay. Now, camera. If it's possible, eh? We want to do this very practical. Just please stand. Oh, just come at the front here so that we can see them clearly. Thank you. So Anne is talking about a cake that was made out of insects.
Yes.
Okay. Now. Camera, I want you to zoom in on her face as I ask this question. Are you able to zoom in? Zoom in. Aha, now. Aileen, honestly, when you saw the cake and when you're told you're going to actually taste it, were you 120% sure you're going to taste it? Tumeona kitu.
There was also cricket cake.
Now for this particular one, when you're told taste, what was your response?
A little bit hesitant. a little bit hesitant, but I said, let me try it for its nutritional value. And also because I keep on telling my child, like, you have to eat what mommy gives you. So this was part of that. So I ate what Anne gave us. And good.
Eileen, thank you. Eileen, why were you hesitant? Because we need to decode this so that, because the investor will ask, how, why? Uh-huh.
I guess because it's not a familiar food on my plate. But I do remember when I was younger, when I was very young, I remember we used to eat. Then after a while, when you came to the city, I never ate it again.
Okay.
So it was not familiar to me.
Okay, a big round of applause for Eileen. Thank you so much. Okay, Asante Thani, you may kindly take your seat. Thank you so much. Okay, let's focus. What's your name, sir?
Mwania Mutinda.
Mwania. Focus on Mwania. Focus on Mwania. Focus on Mwania. Mwania, when you put the cake in your mouth, did you like it 120%?
I liked it 110%.
Kweli?
Yes.
Makofi yake? Yes. And that is Anne's cake?
Yes.
Aya, makofi yake. Mwania, thank you. You may kindly take your seat. What about you, huh?
Faith.
Faith, okay. Focus on faith. Would you 120%? You tasted it.
Yes, I did.
120% you like. Did you like it?
I would say 105% liked it.
Liked it?
Yeah.
Now, would you recommend it for your family intake?
Yes, I would.
Okay, makofi yake tafadhali. Thank you so much. Bwana Victor. Bwana Victor. Okay, let me see. Okay.
Thank you.
Bwana Victor. Focus on Bwana Victor. Bwana Victor. Hypothetically, you have 1 billion shillings. Okay? That's all the money you have.
I'm a billionaire.
Fantastic. Would you put in the 1 billion 100% to invest in that kind of product?
Especially after tasting the cake, I can.
My friend, Victor, 1 billion.
I can.
You won't buy land, you can invest
in the cake.
A big round of applause for Bwana Victor. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Innocent, focus on Innocent. Innocent.
Yes.
From now on,
Yes.
after you tasted the cake,
Uh-huh.
would you be willing to take that cake every single day, at least a piece?
I'd say so, yes. Maybe reconsider its constitution, you know, in terms of maybe, yes, I would, but I would say maybe use another, maybe not use sugar because, you know, we're all trying to kind of get healthy. There's a bit of sugar in it.
Okay.
I'd say we kind of get, if I was to reconstitute it a bit, maybe even try, make it into other products, like say, like if it was, but that's not the question you've asked me. You've asked me if I will take it every day. I would, but reconstitute it a bit.
Okay.
Yes.
Big round of applause for Innocent. But thank you so much, because those are key pointers right there, even as we're considering. What are your final remarks, Anne, as we close this session? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. My final remark is that if we can try to improve how we present this product, I know we can get a market, and it's an opportunity for young people, those who are looking for job opportunity. Since insects are all over and they are available resources and they are culturally accepted in some of our community, we can venture into such kind of project and empower the society and scale it to higher level, because there are some that we can produce in our own home, like the cricket, and also we can encourage our wamama to venture into such kind of business, because resources needed to start it is very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the skills is not that you need to go to school. I just come to your farm, I train you, then you are good to go, because it doesn't need so much expertise. And the production rate is too high. As you understand, insects produce very fast, and also the toxicity is also minimal. in terms the kind of food they feed on, and also the environment that you can keep them. You can keep them in a controlled environment where you can manage it by yourself to make sure that you are getting a clean protein at the end of the day.
Wow.
Within a period of short time, like 3 months, you are good. Thank
Asante. A big round of applause for Anne. Asante Sana. Thank you so much. And there are so many other products, and we want to appreciate all the exhibitors. And remember, from 6 p.m. when we kick off the culture night, we will have awards being given for the best presented exhibition. So get ready for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to now get to that level where we close in good time. And I'd kindly request, do we have Mr. Kavaka Mukonyi? Mr. Kavaka Mukonyi, are you here? All right. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll now move straight to the closing session. And you know, I can't close without mentioning this gentleman should be the king of Africa. Please come, please come. This is the king of Africa as we close the session. Look at him, look at him. Huh? Now this one is the, look at him, focus on him. Focus on him. This is King David of Africa. From the time we came, he has just been outstanding. And I just got a feeling wherever we go as Kenyans, we must stand out. And I thank you so much for this. Part of that kingdom. My goodness, I celebrate you. And he's got some remarkable art. And I'm sure even during the town hall, we need to see one of that remarkable piece that you've done. A big round of applause for King David right here. Thank you so much. Celebrate you, sir. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to a close and I hand it over to management to now close the session, mine, I close with this. You came, you presented your product. I came, I presented my product. And I want to appreciate academia, because even the word university speaks to unity in diversity. That we are able to celebrate each other's products and say, this is ours. Eyes on the screen, this is a video I play about Kenya, so that we appreciate the power of working together as a community. Ladies and gentlemen, in this journey of the indigenous knowledge, intellectual assets, as we desire, as we run and overtake others, this might happen to us, but use that as a force to push you forward. Sometimes it's not enough for us to just run. Sometimes we'll have to fly to win. That's just part of life. And sometimes we will fall down like Jemima Sumgong. She hit her head on the floor, but she picked herself up, maybe remembering the hours she took to train. And because she kept on running, she won that race. But the reason why I play this video normally is because when our Kenyan brother was very close to the finish line and he couldn't make it, others were passing him. Others wanted titles for themselves. Others wanted the championship. But I want you to see his other Kenyan brother. His other Kenyan brother didn't pass him. He stopped close to the finish line and picked up his brother and said, let's do it together. Let's win together. That's the spirit, ladies and gentlemen. And that's how we will win. That's how we will win. That's how we will win. Ladies and gentlemen, to guide us through and to close for us, please welcome our speaker.
He is a leading innovation ecosystem builder in Africa and the CEO of the Kenya National Innovation Agency, driving the development of Kenya's innovation landscape. With extensive experience in policy, entrepreneurship and ecosystem building, he continues to champion startups, commercialization and national innovation strategies. Please welcome Dr. Tony Omwansa.
Makofi yake tafadhali. Karibu sana. welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to join you this afternoon, just to share some thoughts as we come to the end of this great event. My name is Dr. Tony Omwansa, serving as the CEO of the National Innovation Agency, which was set up to develop and manage the national system of innovation, which catalyzes creation of jobs, creation of wealth, that are leveraging innovative ideas. These ideas will sometimes come from research. The ideas come from the general public. They could be accidental, they could be intentional, but we are there to try and help build a strong system that enables these ideas to find commercial value.
Thank you so much.
So being here in support of the conversations around indigenous knowledge and how they find commercial value in a structured and systematic way is by no chance, is really intentional, because we work together. When you work on innovation, you will end up working with education system because you want to build skills of people to be innovative. When you work in innovation, you have to work with funders because somebody has to fund the innovative efforts that others are working on. When you work in innovation, you end up working with researchers because they are trying to develop something new. And when you work with innovation, you will have to work with institutions that have facilities, labs, maker spaces, creative, using a creative equipment, and so forth. When you work in innovation, you also have to work with institutions that protect the intellectual property. When you work in innovation, you have to work with the markets. You have to work with people who are interested in the markets because these ideas must find their way to the market. And so on and so forth. So it is not an accident that I am joining you today to share some thoughts as we close this event. Now, I'm very particularly intrigued by the theme of this event in the context of where I come from as an innovation champion. Unlocking investment opportunities and looking at it as a new growth area for the economy. This is acknowledging that it is going to require investment to the indigenous knowledge for us to translate to and exploit the economic potential. So for me, the key words here is investment. And I want to ask a question before I go through my remarks. The question I want to ask is this. How many of you in this room know or enjoy watching American football? Anybody can raise up their hand if you enjoy watching American football. I didn't see anyone. Then I will follow with the second question. How many of you know the rules of American football? I can hardly see anyone. Let me ask the men. How many of you enjoy watching soccer? Even the ladies have raised up their hands. Somebody was supporting Man City and another one was supporting Arsenal. Now I'll follow with the second question. How many of you know the rules of soccer? Okay? Almost same number of hands. There is always a correlation between knowledge and interest. You would not enjoy what you don't understand. Now, you enjoy what you understand. So if you understand the rules of soccer, you will enjoy the game. If you don't understand the rules of hockey, you will not enjoy the game. And as we sit here, most of us active on matters of indigenous knowledge, the next question is, do we understand the rules of investment? Because if I can belabor that point, I will have addressed this congregation in a meaningful way. Because for us to advance this issue of indigenous knowledge, to strengthen our economy, we must understand investment. We must understand the rules of how investment works. Why do I say so? Is that government and donors and families and friends can support us at the initial stages of our ideas. Some research grant might enable you to produce something, but it is going to take investment to scale the idea to commercial value. I've walked by the exhibitions and I saw Equity Bank, and I went to them and I said, "Why are you here?" And they explained to me. And then I told them, the day I see a bank next to an innovator like I have seen now, then I know the potential to scale our innovative ideas is significantly increasing. It is known world over that scaling of innovative ideas does not happen by public funding. It is not government that is going to enable you to scale. It is going to be private sector funding that will enable us to scale. And so as we think about the next frontier in the context of this indigenous knowledge, we must understand the rules of investment from private sector. That should be one of my take-homes for everyone. So in my remark, as we come to the close of this important conference, I want to begin with this simple outlook, truth, which I'm sure must have been said again and again during the event. The word is potential. You walk around, you see potential. You see potential in the intellectual property. You see potential in the indigenous knowledge. You see potential in the natural resources. If today I were to take you to Taita Taveta, or I take you to Kisumu, I take you to Kisii, you will see natural resources that are talking about potential. You will see our youth, the energy of our youth, and you say potential. If you think about the minerals, you think about potential. If you go to the Rift Valley, you will talk about the potential of the East Rift Valley. A few times I have been to South Africa, and you go to the Table Mountains and you see how people rise up and go and enjoy a nice view, but I don't think it's anywhere close to the Rift Valley. Potential. When I look at the coast and the nautical miles that we have, I see potential. And many times so why doesn't the potential become exploited? We as a society in Kenya and in the region, we are not knowledge poor. We struggle sometimes and many a times with systems. We are system poor in the way we will identify, in the way we will recognize, in the way we will value, in the way we will commercialize or scale the knowledge. Amazing ideas. I have walked by the exhibition and I've been to very many events by universities and research centers and so forth. And you can see the potential, no question. But we struggle with the systems that then enable us to effectively identify and exploit these ideas. I will give you some little statistics. 1.5 years ago, I took about 14 vice chancellors to India. And we went to one university called IIT Madras. IIT Madras they have a target of producing 1 patent per day. So the year that we went there, which was 1.5 years ago, they had done 400 patents, one campus, 400 patents. And then when I had a conversation with Kipi, before I even went to Kipi, I had a conversation with the vice chancellors I was with and said, so collectively, how many patents do you think we're able to produce a year? And the number was very low. And then I went to Kipi and I asked, okay, can you give me a sense of the number of patents that we have done over the years or whatever we're able to do per year? When I think about it cumulatively, since we got independence as a country, that number is actually below what IIT Madras is able to do in 1 year. That is a big issue. And I will tell you why it is a big issue. First, it is not that there is no intellectual property in a university. It's not that there is no intellectual property in NMK. The issue is the systems. It is not an issue that we have innovative ideas. It is that the systems that then commercialize these ideas is what we're struggling with. To take it a little further, if I walked into the university, I'll find so many PhDs graduating, so many master's students. But then the system that enabled the commercialization, the identification, protection, and exploitation of that intellectual property is a real challenge. And here, as we talk about moving towards a new economy that leverages knowledge that is local, there goes the challenge, the systems that we will build to enable us exploit this knowledge. So indigenous knowledge is not something of the past. It is actually a living system of intelligence. It is this intelligence that we use right now that has been built through generations by either observation or adaptation or survival. The pastoralist communities for centuries have managed climate variability through mobility strategies. They will move from one place to another. They will use grazing patterns. They will use drought prediction methods that are based on ecological signals. My mother used to say that when she was young, our grandmother used to say, let's meet at 2 o'clock. But she didn't have a watch, and she would make it at exactly 2 o'clock. It's because she knew how to interpret the sun movement. Smallholder farmers have preserved indigenous seed varieties for so long, which are actually more resistant and resilient to the local conditions than even the important alternatives. It is a way of life. Traditional medicine systems that we talk about under indigenous knowledge have long provided accessible healthcare solutions. And as I was having lunch, I got examples of that, particularly to the underserved societies. When you go to food systems, practices such as fermentation and preservation. My great-grandmother used to preserve meat using some smoke, and we used to enjoy that meat many, many months down the road. There was no fridge. This kind of food, like mursik, that some of us have enjoyed and tasted, reflect deep knowledge of nutrition. It reflects understanding of microbiology. It actually helps us to see that our great-grandparents and up to today understand sustainability. So the issue, therefore, is not whether we have knowledge or not. The issue is the mechanisms that are used to translate the knowledge into large-scale productivity, into enterprises, and into impact. We have examples, we have prototypes, we have demonstrations, but we just don't yet have good, strong systems that will enable us to scale our productivity that impact then society more broadly. Now, I am working on a book that I call Beyond Potential, and maybe this is where I'll share a little bit about what I am thinking about. Because as we say, potential exists everywhere, and maybe what we struggle with is the systems. So the first thing I have observed over time, which is a reality check, is that there is always a sense of wanting to remain informal. The informality of the knowledge that we have built over time, if it remains informal, it therefore limits our ability to create significant scalable impact. And I will demonstrate that. You see, if things remain undocumented, or they remain unstandardized, or they remain disconnected from the formal markets, then they are disconnected from the innovation pipeline. I am speaking from the innovation agency standpoint. We speak about innovation pipeline. That means ideas move from the lowest level of research until they have attracted significant investment from private sector. We normally say they move from level 1 to level 9. In that case, they change. They attract different kind of financial support as they move up the value chain. If our indigenous knowledge does not get into the formal system, then the challenge we face is they don't get to attract the right support. So first issue is the informality of indigenous knowledge. Something to strongly think about, how we move everything into a formal format. You see, our modern systems, whether they are research centers, whether they are universities, whether they are TVETs, whether they are startups, whether they are the way the industry works, whether it is venture capital, whether it's angel investors, whether it is incubation, whether it is accelerations, all these are formal processes. And these processes either are going to work together with the indigenous knowledge to facilitate the commercialization and scaling, or they will run parallel. And we will always think that when we're in the formal system, the informal system is not relevant to us, and vice versa. If I speak a lot about a university issue, maybe the mama who was doing some indigenous knowledge from Kitui might say, I'm too sophisticated for her. The intention here and the aspiration is to reduce the informality so that the formal system can support the scaling of this indigenous knowledge. The second reality I have observed as I walk through my issue of beyond potential is that we tend to think more about heritage than the innovation economy. In other words, as I listen, I hear, you know, this came from my grandmother, this came from someone, this, and there's a sense of thinking about historic issues and less about this is now an innovation economy. And this needs to scale, this partner needs to come, I need to talk to so-and-so, I need to build a startup, I need to build a team. You see, we must move from the state that indigenous knowledge is about heritage only. It must be recognized as innovation economy, because what we see in the Kenyan communities is not accidental knowledge. It has been tested over time, it has been adapted to the local ecosystem, and it has been optimized under resource constraint. Our great people over time have actually optimized some of the solutions that we see out here. And for that reason, there is this opportunity to turn this into scalable commercial opportunities by making things formal, by making them investable, and by making them enterprise-oriented. So begin to see these things being exposed here as enterprises that have the opportunity to scale. Let me speak a little bit from the innovation agency standpoint. That Kenya is here to support the growth of the innovation system. And we would like to add our voice to this journey. One is the issue of translating. We would like to work with communities, working with partners that are already organizing this forum, among others, to ensure that things get more documented, things become more researchable, and things become appropriate for the innovation pipeline. I am also committing that we will support issues of validation, because when I say that this drug is useful for X, I am interested in finding whether there is scientific evidence for that, whether I can actually do some field validation, whether it can be repeatable. If I change the context, whether it will be the same. And the third is around protection and venture capital support. So as an innovation agency, we do have a mandate to support, and we do have a number of partners we work with around intellectual property frameworks that can be aligned even more to knowledge economy, supporting in the knowledge, in the benefit sharing, and I have heard this over again from our communities, as well as ethical commercialization pathways. Those are areas that we can support this effort. Now, in commercializing and scaling means we have to think about the appropriate business models, about value proposition, about customer segmentation. We think business. We are a government, semi-autonomous government institution, but we know that for you to work with private sector, you must think business models and commercializable value. For example, I think about the crops that we talk about, the climate change farming methods, and so on and so forth. So the great opportunity, as I come to a conclusion, is that for us to succeed, we must change a little bit of our mindset from extraction to partnership, from documentation into the application of these solutions that we create, and from preservation into productivity. So we begin to think more as business minds as we build our solutions for the future. Let me leave you with this. Indigenous knowledge is not about things that are behind us. It is not just about the history, it is not just about the heritage, but it is also about what is beneath us, what is the foundation of our existence. It is the basis of our existence in a way that if we become deliberate, if we become scientific and inclusive, we will create the next level of economy, as this conference suggests. I have about 4 commitments from the Kenya National Innovation Agency. One is that I see a future where Kenya positions itself as a continental leader in indigenous knowledge governance. Indigenous knowledge governance. And in this way, we are leveraging indigenous knowledge for economic development. And I want to speak it in the context of clusters, and that's my second point. Within the Innovation Agency, we organize innovation in terms of clusters. When you're in healthcare, what you need to innovate is different from when you're in education, or when you are in manufacturing, or when you're in farming. We have a number of clusters that we support, and the clusters mean we have to bring the stakeholders together. People who are in education, people who are teaching, people who are funding, people who are incubating, and so forth. And we have a number of clusters that we work with. One commitment I can make at this point is that we will explore indigenous knowledge as a great opportunity for an innovation cluster that leverages indigenous knowledge to create economic value. That's my second commitment. The third one is we work a lot with incubators and accelerators. Why? Is because for you to package things for export, and here I'm looking at the opportunity for export, is you have to have the standards right, things like geographical indicators, branding, certifications, and so forth. And we have learned over time that when we mentor people and expose them to what the external market looks like, they actually align. Now, we don't run the incubators ourselves and the accelerators. What we do is we work with partners to incubate and nurture ventures like the ones we're seeing here for purposes of export. And we attract the right funding, private sector funding, to support that export process. And so the last commitment I can make here is that we're more than happy to work with the likes of NMK and other partners to put together an incubation program, an acceleration program that is specifically designed to leverage indigenous knowledge for export. Thank you very much.
Dr. Tony Omwansa, makofi yake tafadhali. Thank you so much indeed. Very quickly, because of time, we'll go straight to the conference resolutions. Mr. Kavaka Mukonyi, makofi yake tafadhali anapokuja. Asante sana. 9 minutes to the top of the hour. We'd kindly request you keep it to 10 minutes. Asante sana.
Yes, good afternoon. Mine will be very brief. As you have been told, Mukonyi Kavaka Watai, a member of the National Organizing Committee for this conference, and also implementation team for the program. I've been requested to give the resolution. I'll go straight. I know we have been here for some time. We have talked to many things, and this resolution is a culmination of all your discussions as you came around the site events and everything. They have been done by a team from the organizing secretariat. So it's just a draft. We are going to improve with time. So the draft resolution of the first International Investment Conference and Trade Fair on Indigenous Knowledge Intellectual Assets, with the theme you are aware, unlocking investment opportunities in Kenya's indigenous wealth, a new growth area of the economy. So let's move. Let's move. Oh. So we have just written that, I may not, or with the participants of the first International Investment Conference and Trade Fair on Indigenous Knowledge Intellectual Assets 2016, comprising representatives from national government, county governments, indigenous knowledge holders, MSMEs, private sector, NGOs, and other stakeholders convened to explore and unlock the investment potential within Kenya's indigenous knowledge system. Then, recognizing the immense value of indigenous knowledge as a driver of innovation, sustainable development, and economic growth, and acknowledging the need for coordinated efforts to protect, promote, and commercialize these assets, we hereby resolve as follows. Yes, all of us agreed the significance of this conference. I know, as some people say, I've heard others saying, yes, bishop saying, I've preached for several years, and another one came, I don't just preach, but I do the practical. So this has demonstrated we have spoken so much about indigenous, but this is a practical route to realize actually the implementation of this. And therefore, what most of you affirmed that the conference marks a critical milestone in positioning indigenous knowledge in electoral assets as a next frontier for innovation and investment in Kenya. Then recognize IKI as key contributor to economic diversification, cultural preservation, and sustainable livelihoods. And to colonize heritage cultural assets to promote their utilization, demonstrated high potential of IKI assets that contribute to the national innovation and economic development, and that whereas IKI is key to counties, the stakeholders noted the low participation of key county officials from various counties. Then number 2, institutionalization of the conference. Recommend that the conference be held either annually or biannually. This came from most of your discussions. To sustain momentum, track progress, and deepen stakeholders' engagement. Establish continuous engagement platforms for stakeholders across sectors. Like we need to have platforms for IKIAs, MSMEs across the country. Then, number 3, there was something on whole of government and whole of society approach, call for a coordinated approach involving all levels of government and society to support IKIA development. Then, this was a repetition, the low levels. Then let's move. Number 4, support to IKIA holders and MSMEs. Urge provisions of technical and financial support of IKIA holders and MSMEs to enhance innovation, value addition, and commercialization. Promote capacity building and access to markets. Number 5, promotion and branding. Encourage the packaging and branding of IKIA as innovative, modern, and globally competitive, cool and bold. That is what most of you are saying. Recommend development of at least one flagship indigenous product per county. Then research, innovation, and development. Call upon relevant institutions to support research and development of IKIA for national development. Promote IKIA as a new frontier for innovation. Then number 7, integration in key sectors. Support the mainstreaming and integration of traditional medicine with conventional healthcare systems. Promote integration of IKIA into smart agriculture initiatives and national programs such as the 15 billion tree initiatives. Encourage heritage-based economic development. Number 8, legal and policy framework. You recommend a review and strengthening of the legislation to address key aspects of IKIA, including protection, access, and benefit sharing. This came even from the key speaker. Then advocate for the application of sui generis tailored to indigenous knowledge protection. Promote both individual intellectual property systems and a collective community-based protection, given that our protection system of indigenous knowledge is different from the foreign ones. Number 10, governance and protection. Strengthen IK governance structures at national and county levels. Address misappropriation through effective protection mechanisms, including addressing aspects of digitization and emerging technologies such as AIA. Let's move, we are finishing. Institutional coordination. Mandate the ministry responsible for culture to operationalize IKIA system. Ensure alignment and linkage between IKIA system and existing intellectual property frameworks. Support counties in documentation and finalization of IKIA across all regions. Number 12, resource mobilization. Mobilize resources and support indigenous people and local communities and IKIA holders. Facilitate funding mechanisms for community-level initiatives. Bring on board key institutions such as KI to support IKIA-based enterprises to accelerate development in this sector. Number 13, post-conference actions. Conduct post-conference reviews with counties and stakeholders assess implementation and progress, promote nation and political dialogue on IKIA as a strategic economic culture. That is what this means. Whenever we are going mapambano haki yetu, let's also speak about what this one, we promote IKIA, so that it's about us. So the conclusion, you said, we are reaffirm our collective commitment to unlocking the economic potential of Kenya's indigenous knowledge systems through inclusive, innovative, and sustainable approaches that benefit present and future generation. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, makofi tafadhali. And just to remind you, immediately we close, we'll head straight to the lunch venue for the county town hall engagement session. So you don't want to miss that, and maybe we'll also pick one or two resolutions. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to a close, please welcome Dr. Taracha once again to give us his closing remarks. Karibu sana daktari. Makofi yake tafadhali.
Okay, asanteni kwa hii nafasi, na sitaongea kwa muda mrefu kwa sababu kuna afisa wa kutoka kwa wizara yetu Daktari Kiprop Lagat, ambaye mkurugenzi wetu mkuu Profesa Mary Kukungu amemuomba apeane ujumbe wa kufunga na kutamatisha hiki kikao. Ningependa tu nikuzie masuala pengine mawili matatu hivi. Jambo la kwanza, ningependa kwanza kurejeshea nyinyi shukurani tele kwa kwanza kuendelea kuamini na kusukuma hili gurudumu la kuhakikisha kwamba elimu jadi, maarifa yetu ya kale na mali asili ambayo yanaambatana nayo ipate nafasi ya kunawiri kama sekta kuu ya uchumi yetu, tukiwa ni jamii mbalimbali, tukiwa ni kaunti mbalimbali, na tukiwa taifa letu la Kenya. Kwa hivyo ndipo sahihi huu mradi unawiri unategemea juhudi zenu, na kufika kwenu hapa na mkakaa mpaka wakati huu mkiwa mmehusika kwa maongezi mbalimbali baina yenu, miongoni mwetu hapa, na mkakuja na bidhaa mbalimbali kuja hapa na kuzungumzia hiyo bidhaa na kuuza, ni ishara kwamba kweli mmeamua. La pili, ningependa tu kusisitiza jambo moja, kwamba hili kongamano, mimi kama Evans Taracha, muhusika ama mwanadau wa huu mradi, kuna yale nimejifunza, kuna yale nimesoma, na pamoja na wenzangu tukiendelea na mpangilio wa kuwa na hili kongamano, nilikuwa najiuliza, je, hata tutapata watu ambao watakuja huko, na wakija watakuwa ni watu ambao watachangia kuboresha mawazo yetu na juhudi mbalimbali ambazo tunachukua kuhakikisha huu mradi ufaulu. Hilo swali limepata jibu. Lakini zaidi ya hiyo, mimi wakati huo tulipata fursa kuongea na Wakenya wenzetu ambao wako sehemu mbalimbali ya dunia, na tukawa na wale ambao walihusika na wakasikiza kuhusu huu mradi, na wakaongelea kwamba huu ni mradi ambao pia wangependa kuona umefaulu. Hapo nilijua tumepika hatua. Na vile vile wacha nitumie mfano wa wale maafisa wametoka kwa taasisi ya KIE, Kenya Industrial Estates. Wakaja hapa wakasikiza nyinyi wenye mali asilia, mkajieleza, na vile vile wakawa na yale walizungumzia, kusema kwamba baadhi ya malengo yao kama taasisi ni kulenga nyinyi wafanyabiashara kwa hii sekta ya mali asilia. In fact, they said indigenous enterprises is part of their major focus. Nilikuwa najiuliza kama hatungekuja hapa ama tuwe na hili kongamano, je, tungepata hiyo nafasi? Na hapo kuna nafasi kubwa. Na vile vile wacha nitumie Daktari Tony Omanza ambaye amezungumzia tu hapa, akaeleza kwa upana kabisa taasisi yake inalenga kutekeleza nini, na akatambua mwishowe kwamba in kimombo, part of his commitment as Kenya National Innovation Agency will be to ensure that indigenous knowledge becomes one of the pipelines for innovation. Hiyo pia naona tunapika hatua. Nikimalizia, nikipenda tu niseme hivi. Gavana wa Garissa alipokuwa hapa, nikamtembeza huko nje kwa vibanda, kisha akatoka, alisema, hata alisema akiwa hapa kwamba baada ya hili kongamano huu mjadala uendelee, shughuli iendelee. Na nataka nishukuru mwenzetu Bwana Kabaka pamoja na wenzake ambao wameunda azimio mbalimbali hapa, these key resolutions. Ningependa tu kusema sisi kama National Museums of Kenya, haswa nitazungumzia kitengo cha NPI, ni kwamba tutahakikisha report imeandikwa ikachapishwa kuhusu hili kongamano, na hiyo report itachangiwa na nyinyi. Si report ambayo watu wachache wataenda wakae mahali waiandike kisha muone nakala za ile report zinamfikia. La hasha, mtapata fursa ya kuchangia hiyo report. Itakuwa report ya kipekee, itakiwa na vipengele mbalimbali, ikiwa azimio ambayo tumesomewa hapa zikiwemo. Na baada ya hiyo itakuwa wazi kwamba kila mmoja wenu atajua yeye anachangia nini tukienda mbele. Ningependa nimalizie hapo, na kwa niaba ya wenzangu wa kamati ya National Organizing Committee, na pia kwa niaba ya mkurugenzi wetu mkuu Profesa Mary Gikungu, kushukuru nyinyi nyote, na haswa huyu Mkenya mwenzetu, huyu Mkenya mwenzetu. Mimi nimekuwa nikimuona kabla sijakuza jina lake, nilikuwa namuona kwa runinga vile nyinyi mlikuwa mnamuona, Na nilipoona service provider amemfikia na amesema yeye ndiye atakuja aendeshe programu hii, nikajua sasa nimepata nafasi ya kujumuika naye. Na tangu tuanze siku hiyo ya kwanza, Jumanne, jana hadi leo, there is one thing that is undeniable kuhusu yeye. He finishes as he started. That one great Kenyan anaitwa Bwana Johnson Mwakazi. Asante sana. I've given you a second name, great Kenyan. Asante sana. Bas, nitakurudishia kipasha sauti kisha umwalike msemaji wa kufunga hiki kikao. Asante sana.
Asante sana, makofi yake Dr. Taracha. Thank you so much. We appreciate your leadership, your commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at that place where we want to close, and we want to close in a big way. Thank you so much. To close for us, representing our chief guest, please welcome.
He is the Director of Culture, playing a key role in shaping policies that preserve and promote Kenya's rich cultural heritage. He has deep knowledge in cultural research, heritage management, and the advancement of the arts. Please welcome Dr. Kiprop Lagat.
Distinguished guests, holders of indigenous knowledge, innovators present in the room, investors, managers of indigenous intellectual assets, researchers, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm here to perform a very brief task on behalf of the chief guest, who was Dr. Professor Mary Gikungu, the Director General of the National Museums of Kenya, who is not able to be here with us this evening because of another urgent commitment elsewhere. However, she has given me her brief statement to make on her behalf. However, before I do that, allow me to just make one or two statements. First is that I've been very privileged to have been part of this conference from the first day to the last day, that is this evening. In the course of these 3 days, I've seen your active participation in this event. I have heard your insightful contributions. I have seen your unwavering commitment to this cause, whose actualization will actually help us unlock new investment opportunities in Kenya's indigenous wealth, and thus opening a new area of growth for this economy. I am a converted person. We've walked through this journey with the colleagues of NPI, and the State Department of Culture, the Arts and Heritage is deeply committed to this cause. We may be absent in some meetings or events, but be assured that we are always, and we've always been part of it. I think the greatest challenge for us at the moment as a ministry is to ensure that we urgently finalize the draft regulations in order to operationalize the Protection of Traditional Knowledge and Cultural Expressions Act that will unlock all the opportunities, create wealth, create employment for our youth, hence moving this country to another level. I think allow me now to read the statement by the chief guest, Professor Mary Gikungu. This is a statement. She is aware that the traditional knowledge embedded in our communities is the reason that has brought all of us this evening into this room. The 13 counties carried this conference into being for a reason that goes deeper than just the hosting duties. We are a country whose identity is inseparable from its indigenous knowledge. Agriculture counts for about 70% of Kenya's economic activities. And indeed, over 70% of our residents earn their livelihood directly or indirectly from the land. Behind every tea bush, every avocado tree, every macadamia farm, and every coffee cooperative in this country is a body of community knowledge about how to work with specific land in the ecosystem. That is just not agricultural knowledge, it is indigenous knowledge, intellectual property that our communities have developed and refined over time, and it has made this country, and more so this county of Murang'a, to be among the significant tea and avocado producing county in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference is the moment we extend that logic beyond agriculture and apply to food preparation, traditional medicine, performing arts, indigenous crafts, heritage sites, and the full breadth of what Murang'a and Kenyan communities carry. The journey has taken years of serious institutional work. The county governments have partnered with the National Museums of Kenya to launch the Indigenous Knowledge Documentation and Digitization Program, beginning the process of formally recording, protecting, and recognizing that our communities and recognizing what our communities know. The work has not simply been archival, it was commercial preparation. Every asset documented under that program was documented with proper consent and benefit sharing procedures in front of investors who can help convert it into knowledge and enterprise. Ladies and gentlemen, today, the Inkibank's operationalization, the intellectual property audits are now complete. The product standards are in development. Everything that investors in this room need to engage with Kenya's indigenous knowledge assets with confidence in place. I want to be direct about something that is easy to miss in a conference of this scale and ambition. The opportunity before us is not primarily a government opportunity. Governments can document, protect, and facilitate. We can zone land for industrial parks and pass enabling legislation and build infrastructure. We have done all that, and we will continue to do that. What governments cannot do is make market decisions. We cannot tell an investor which asset to fund or tell a community entrepreneur how to position their product or tell a Kenyan in the diaspora what to do with their capital. Those decisions belong to the people in this room. Ladies and gentlemen, the IKEA holders from the 13 counties who have come to this conference, you arrived carrying your community's wealth. Over the last 3 days, you have presented it, defended its value, and negotiated its commercial future. You are not the supplicants in this room. You are the asset owners. The investors need what you have. What you need from them is capital and market access to take what you already know to the scale it deserves. To the investors and business leaders, the counties are not making promises to you. We are showing you verified, documented, and commercially assessed opportunities and inviting you to make your own calculations. The county government's commitment is to be the most efficient and most transparent investment facilitation partner you'll find anywhere in this country. We know that what drives investors is not speeches at conferences, it is the quality and speed of government facilitation when they are ready to move. We will not disappoint you on that front. To the diaspora, counties have always produced Kenyans who go out into the world and succeed. The diaspora reunion with Kenya's indigenous knowledge economy is exactly the kind of unity this conference is designed to build. You carry market networks and capital that can transform what our communities produce. We carry knowledge, culture, and natural resources that can give you something genuinely distinctive to invest in and to sell. That is a partnership worth pursuing. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this conference, Unlocking Investment Opportunities in Kenya's Indigenous Wealth, a new growth area of the economy, is also a challenge to every institution that has any role in shaping Kenya's economic future. Wealth exists, documentation is already done, protection frameworks are in place, and the communities are ready for takeoff. The question is whether the institutions, both public and private, will match the readiness of the people they are meant to serve. The Ministry of Gender, Culture, and Children's Services is committed to work with you through this journey. It will facilitate any necessary policy, legislative, or regulatory and institutional agenda that will ensure that these untapped assets are unveiled, they are harnessed to ensure that we achieve the aspirations of this government espoused under the Better Economic Transformation Agenda, as well as what our founding fathers proposed as encapsulated in Kenya's Vision 2030. And as a ministry, we believe that the people who are here will definitely make us achieve that. With those, ladies and gentlemen, asante sana, Mungu awabariki, and these are the comments of the DG, and it is now my pleasure on behalf of the DG to declare this 3-day Indigenous Knowledge Intellectual Assets Investment Conference officially closed. Thank you very much, na Mungu awabariki.
Wow, asante sana. Asante sana. We've come to a close, and I'd kindly request that we be upstanding for the Kenya National Anthem and the East African Community Anthem. And just to let you know, immediately we are done, you're invited for tea at the food tent, where we will also have the town hall engagement session. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Kenya National Anthem.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Asanteni sana, tupatane at the food tent. Karibuni. Thank you so much for coming. All the best. God bless you.